Welcome back to the smoke pit.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually where he goes, hey.
I was literally mid-drink. I'm very sorry.
No, he tried his best, though.
Yep.
So today we have a very special guest with us. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? My name is Patty Gomez, Army veteran, and the reigning Mrs. New York 2018.
Hey,
Woo!
there
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, keeping it in the military.
Right, yeah. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
I'm
bringing
excited.
this.
I don't really mean that. Yeah, so we brought Patty on because we have a very special show today, and I say that every time. I kind of feel like it's a UFC where every fight is the biggest fight ever.
But you are the Joe Rogan of podcasts, other than his actual podcast, of course.
One of these days, I'm gonna get super high with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, is that the
That
dream?
means hang gliding, not marijuana.
Oh, gotcha. And then launch a car into space.
Wink.
Wink.
Yeah. But I don't know how he talks for like 3 hours. Like our podcasts are like 20, 30 minutes.
Right. Well, then I black out at the end. But then I would say the first hour is like all ads. I think we can cut the fat off.
That being said, the smoke pit brought to you by.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding. If we plug products, we're gonna do it organically, so we don't have to sit there for the first 10 minutes listening to advertisements.
Exactly.
So we'll kick it over to Patty a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about like your military career and your background and kind of what led you to where you are today?
Yes, wow, that's like 8 questions all at once. I'll try and get through
Just do
them.
2 and you pass.
I did not ask to be embarrassed.
How dare you? This is the smoke pit.
Like if you could just go over your entire life biography, go. Okay, so my name is Patty, Army veteran. I just got discharged in March of this year, which is funny because I got crowned in March, so it was a very seamless transition from soldier to pageant queen. I've never competed in a pageant before. The only reason I was really doing it was to raise money for the organizations that I work for and that I champion and that I volunteer with. So that's where that kind of whole thing got started.
Now, when you say champion, like I have this picture of you in like a cape with like a sword.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a
sometimes,
shield.
yeah, sometimes.
So like, if you were to fight a dragon, like what weapons would you take?
Ooh, definitely an arrow. Definitely a bow and arrow.
That's
just because you have to have that like distance, high ground.
That is actually my third biggest fear about waking up as a Viking. Arrows.
Arrows, seriously.
Yeah.
Being in charge of arrows or having arrows shot at you?
Having them shot at me.
Okay, because if you pulled a bow, they're heavy. Like I don't like them. Not my weapon of choice.
Oh yeah.
No.
So
Definitely bow and arrow. I think I'm kind of an axe girl.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Lord of the Rings? Gimli, is that his name?
Yeah.
Like just kind of like, I don't know. There's just something so brute about it that I'm really
something
into
like
it.
very cathartic about like swinging with all your might at something.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a
Dislocating
sword,
shoulder.
it requires a lot of like finessing that I don't think that I have. Like I would probably accidentally like cut my own arm off.
Yeah, see, I feel like swords like is more like for God and country, and axes is more like thinking about your ex, like
Both ceremonial in their own ways.
All right, so
Back to my life story.
yes, I was about to say.
All over the place.
Outrageous detour. So that's how I got into pageantry. But to my Army career, so I was in the National Guard. I was a 35 Mike, which is human. People should hopefully be familiar with that.
Yeah.
If not, it's human intelligence collector. So interrogations, source ops, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we had a human guy with us. He went by the code name Slick. He wouldn't tell us his real name, even
Rick.
though like his name was on his name tapes on his trousers. Wouldn't tell us anything we noticed, and he wore like a Jason ski mask that he claimed would deflect 7.62 because he was such a high value target, and that he didn't want the locals to know his real name. And so there's a guy in my platoon, actually in my squad, he's one of the other team leaders, and he was just like really salty about this, he didn't like the guy, I thought he was like too cool for school. And the guy had like one of those new Black Hawk like chest rigs when they were just starting to come out in like OIF 3 and 4.
Okay.
And so I used to tell him like, yeah man, Slick's gear is cooler than yours, right? He'd be like, no it's not.
Triggered.
And like he'd go at other people, I'd be like, yeah. Tell him. Like, is his gear cool? I'm like, yeah, dude, sorry. Like, you're like, motherfucker. And we went back to the farm to like do laundry or whatever. He's using his like 5 minutes of computer time trying to get on Blackhawk's website to order new gear. And so other than that, I mean, decent dude. Like, he gave us good targets to hit.
Yeah.
So douchebaggery aside, like, good at his job.
Then that's all we can ask.
Yeah. And so that's kind of a recurring theme. Like, you don't have to be a good warfighter to be a good human. And you don't have to be a good human to be a good warfighter.
It's true, yeah.
So, like, that was my brief experience with HUMIT.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters in the HUMIT world. You'll have the people who really do their job and they do it well and they're absolute rock stars. And then you'll have the people who, they're really great at their job and then they let it get to their head. were, like you said, too cool for school.
That's
I've met a few of them, but it's especially extra when they're like I get flown in just to break the bad guy. It's like, do you though?
Do you really?
Do you really?
Like, you have a top secret clearance. I didn't even get an email until I've been in for 10 years. So like you're like, oh yeah, just log in with your CAC card. I'm like, my what? Like when I came in, we had green ID cards.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Or when you ask them for stories and they're like, oh well, you know what, I can't tell you. There's just so many things that I just can't tell that would blow your mind. I'm like, I have
the incredible detail. Exactly. I would go into the story if I could.
If only I could.
If they had the details.
So did you like doing that job then?
Oh no, I loved it. So everyone always makes fun of me. Everyone who knows the story, now everybody is gonna know the story because I don't mind. I was very
6 of our viewers.
That's right. Loyal fans, by the way, die hard.
I was so naive about the whole, joining the military experience. I was wearing like my suit. I had my resume.
Yeah.
I showed up. I Googled recruiting office, and I just showed up. And I went to the first man I could find.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hello, sir." Mind you, he was a sergeant. Didn't know the distinction at the time. "Hello, sir. My name is Patty Gomez, and I'd like to join the U.S. Army." And he looks at me. And I'm like, I have my resume, my passport, and my social security card. and
I am not a spy.
And he's totally looking at me, and I'm like, and I go, do we do the swearing now, or do we is paperwork first? Like, I don't know how this works.
Wow.
And he goes, and he's looking around, are people hearing this? Like, is everyone else seeing what I'm
seeing?
Like
the Air Force is down the hall.
Like you imagine like all the recruiters that are just like
believe.
Yeah, like waving things like, oh, you did heroin, like don't mention it. Like, oh, you have a felony, don't mention it.
Just take the needle
sitting here just like vexing, like, God, I wish it'd be like Patty Gomez would just walk in my office, resume, suit, sample of urine.
Yeah, exactly,
like, I am prepared.
I had no idea about the
clearer than water.
I had no idea about MEBS. I had no idea about anything. I was so ill prepared. And then I took the ASVAB, and I'm like, oh, that was fun. What more tests will I be taking? I'm such a dork. I was all about it. No, I'd always wanted to serve. And I knew that if I didn't do it sooner rather than later, it just wasn't going to happen. So I'm really glad that I pulled the trigger. No pun intended on that.
All puns intended.
All puns on the show. Thrown in the show.
So we find oftentimes that sometimes our personal goals conflict with our military service. Did you find that was the case with you?
Personal goals in terms of things that I want.
Like with your pageantry and like your education and...
definitely the education portion. I can't tell you the times that I wanted to start my master's and I couldn't because there was going to be a huge break in class time due to us being away for training.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that, National Guard, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, we're golden. No.
Is it not?
I was gone.
Not when your arm was slick.
There were times where I was gone for, 8 weeks at a time or 4 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time. And I'm like, I was in Fort Polk, Louisiana in July with no showers for 3 weeks. I didn't shower for 3 weeks. So I'm like, this isn't really what I signed up for, but I'm kind of into it.
I get that. And I see our executive producer looking like he's about to wet his pants. He, I think he's sober, or at least they're not hungover.
I can't smell him at least. That's fair. Yeah.
But he was also stationed in Fort Polk. And... yeah, so I could tell, like, if you're watching the video, the camera might have shaken a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
Just from, like, the blood being injected back into his heart.
The JRTC was, I volunteered to go to, because again, I'm like, oh, JRTC, that sounds expeditionary and exciting. Sign me up. I get there, I'm like, where are the showers?
Super expeditionary.
Yeah.
I was sleeping on cardboard in some embassy in Atropia. It was great.
Oh, that's fantastic. So did you feel that, like, you felt like had any pushback, whether it be good or bad, any sort of feedback from your chain of command as you were like going into like your pageant side of your career?
At first, no one believed it. They thought it was absolutely hilarious.
What dickheads!
They were like,
"I'm
what?
going to be a pageant queen." And they're like, "You."
I had the exact same pushback from my pageantry. Like,
no, it was more along the lines of they never saw that like girly side of me. It was always like the more gung ho, in the dirt, nitty gritty kind of. So and they'd never really seen me in civilians either.
Oh yeah, they've never seen the glow up.
The glow up.
I wouldn't call it.
Because if anybody is listening, I swear, if a girl is attractive in camouflage, she will blow you away in civilian attire.
Absolutely.
And the first time you get like some sort of like company function, and then the girl shows up and she's in civilian attires, and like all the dudes are just like whoa.
I remember seeing my first one like that. It was bizarre. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same part. Your brain can't even comprehend it.
No, it's really
the
not.
worst, yeah.
It's like when you see like your first sergeant show up with like his fat wife and 8 kids.
Well, that
and he's like
becomes-
being nice, and his wife's like yelling at him like,
Yeah.
"Gary, stop being a dickhead." You're like, Gary, like,
Gary.
oh my god.
He has a first name.
His first name? I thought his first name was First.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one of my boots asked me that. They're like, Sergeant, what's your first name? And I was like, it's Sergeant to you, boot.
Right,
Like,
yeah, no
get on
kidding.
your face.
Oof.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right when fidget spinners and
Oh, the
the
worst.
Insta tweets on my face were starting to become a thing, and people started
Your
getting bold.
kids and your book faces, and your PlayStation 1s, making me sick.
So you didn't really nobody believed you at first.
No, they were just surprised just because it wasn't something that I had ever expressed interest in or what they, I mean, there's a stereotype to everything, right? Same way that
course.
in the pageant world, they're like, wait a second, you're in the military? Because again, they're not viewing you from that lens. But afterward, they were so supportive, outrageously
hear.
supportive, actually. Before I left for Las Vegas to compete for Mrs. America, we had a boat party and my whole squad was there, and I was so surprised to see them all after I'd already left. After I'd already left the service, and they surprised me with that, and it was awesome. I had a great time.
Awesome.
That's
yeah.
Yeah,
fantastic.
it was like a good luck, Gomez.
Yeah, because like you hear a lot of horror stories of like guys not being able to like go to their wives' birth or like their first child's birth,
Right.
or like they're not allowed to like go to the mechanics get their oil changed, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's always good to hear when there's actually like good leadership out there that allows the individual the opportunity to discover personal growth and become the person that they want to be, because the idea is that you want to put a better product back into the civilian world than you received in the military. So as a leader, inherently that is your duty. So whether they stay in 20 years or get out after 2 or 4 or whatever the contract is, your responsibility, if you're listening out there, to put a better product than what you received. Now, that being said, what kind of like leadership traits did you see? Because it sounded like you had good leaders
I had the best leaders.
that you admired.
Yeah. So decisiveness. That was definitely one of the things that I loved the most. And also the humanity. I think sometimes in the military it's really easy to lose yourself to regulations and doctrine and, well, we got to do it by the book and not take the person
Right.
into account. And I think my chain of command was always outrageously wonderful in taking the person and the situation into account, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of
And I
sense.
saw them do
yeah.
it on many occasions, and I hear so many horror stories of the military, and I just sit back and I'm like, that's baffling, because I only had the best of the best. I feel, at least.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, Mike.
yeah. Leadership traits, I don't possess that, but I think, I think honestly, I mean, she kind of nailed them all. I would say just humbleness. I mean, decisiveness is huge, because people who backtrack their decisions are just the worst kind of people. Yeah, a good sense of humor, and like honestly, self-deprecation. Like, we're all in this together. Granted, you're in
Yeah.
charge of me, but you're human as well. Like,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I feel that being able to read the doctrine and like the warfighting pubs and stuff really helped me as I kind of stepped into the role as a leader, because I was 20 years old on my second deployment to Iraq, leading combat patrols as an E3. Like, that is not the military experience that most people get.
it's not.
No.
And so I spent a lot of time, like, reading warfighting pubs and, small unit tactic books and stuff. And I came across one thing in MCDP 1 Warfighting, our very first pub as far as the warfighting series goes. It says, until a decision has been made, it is the responsibility of the small unit leaders to offer their opinions and their insight. But then once the decision has been made, they must enforce it as it was their own hand. Yes men will not be tolerated.
Wow. Yeah.
And so being able to, cite that pub, like where I'm like, hey, sir, like I think he's like, well, when I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. And I'm like,
Right.
well, actually, sir, according to Marine Corps Doctrine publication, chapter 3, subparagraph 2. And
Exactly.
they're like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Like, I tattooed on my chest if you look closely.
Yeah, I used to keep a copy in my pocket
Yep,
just for
yeah.
that reason.
I know people do that.
And then, because I think one of the best characteristics that a leader can possess is admitting if they don't know something.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Very much agreed. Yeah.
Yep.
And being able to either, one, ask for people who might have that knowledge, or two, being humble enough to admit that they don't and research and find out the knowledge.
Hell yes. I like that.
Surrounding yourself with other A players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly. I may not know how to do this or have the answer to this, but I know a guy who does.
That's right.
Or
I always say that.
I know somebody who does. And so that quality of being able to admit that you know something, and it's okay. Like your troops will actually respect you more for that.
Absolutely.
If you're like, hey gents, quick tactical pause. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Let me figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste your time. Like if I have a leader tell me that he doesn't want to waste my time, I'm like hand jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, as soon as you
For
go to sleep,
everybody.
like,
For everybody.
Everybody. Like Doc and Safety Vic. Like everybody's getting it.
Everybody to the mountains.
Yeah,
Hand job time.
somebody call the Domino's guys, give him a 10-digit grid. Like he's getting it too. And so
29 palms.
yeah, so I think that with that being said, we're gonna roll into a segment where Patty is actually going to put us on the spot and ask us some
I'm
questions
excited for this.
Let's do this.
that we are, speaking of which, grossly uninformed to speak on.
I'm so excited.
Because we've all seen the video where they ask a pageant contestant a very simple question.
Oh my God.
And she just goes off on this long diatribe that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see how we fare.
Before we start that, do you have any horror stories from that? Either yourself or someone you've physically seen just like drown in those questions?
Oh man.
Just like
If I could talk about it, I would blow your mind.
Exactly. I just can't talk about
but
it.
here's the thing, like I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but it's so easy to think that you have the answers, like, I know how I'd answer that question.
Right.
And then when you're up there and you didn't expect to be up there and all eyes are on you and the bright lights and you're trying not to fall over and things are sweaty and someone asks you a question, it's a lot more difficult to be clear, concise, poised while offending no one. And there is the key right there, trying to offend no one.
Yeah, I can see that. So, not to throw anybody under the bus, but we'll just say like a state that is larger than France. Everything is bigger there. No, I'm kidding. Rhymes with Lermont. No, I'm kidding. We're not. Because actually, there's a lot of other pageant winners that you've seen. Like I think like. And you have like different organizations or whatever, but like Miss Rhode Island, like I think she was an Army vet.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I actually didn't realize, and I had so many girls message me when I was on Fox and Friends, and so many pageant girls messaged me and said, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh man,
Fox and Friends,
their producer garbage.
And they're like, "Oh my God, I was thinking about doing this pageant thing. I didn't think I could." And they were like, "You've inspired me to go ahead and push for that. Thank you so much." And I'm sitting here like, "Really? That's so." Oh, good on you. Cool. I'm happy that I was able to do that.
Fantastic. So that being said, do your worst.
Here we go.
And then if you just want to say who you're addressing the questions to, and executive producer, if you would just set a timer, and we're going to take about 10 to 15 seconds to answer each question, and then just give us a high sign, when our time is up, and we have to like immediately stop. Just be like, thank you.
Okay. So there's gonna be a little bit of a trivia mixed in with a little bit of like world stuff. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
What is the standard heel height in pageantry?
I think that's a great question. I feel that it's a more of an issue about empowerment, whether if the individual competing in the pageant, if they feel more confident in themselves in larger heels, or if they feel more confident in themselves in wedges or flat-footed. It's like, it's 2019. So, thank you.
The correct answer was literally 6 inches.
That's what I've been told my whole life, Dan.
I stand by my answer.
Stand by it.
Women, I am your champion.
What we got? That's right.
What is the most winning gown color? Go.
What a great question, and I thank you for it. I think during all my research, which was vast and knowledgeable, just like myself, I would say the most winning gown color is blue. Thank you very much.
The answer is
Motherfucker.
white.
White? Oh, really?
Yeah, white.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
white gowns are the most.
Dangerous.
Okay, now I'm gonna need your like more pageant-esque answers.
Oh, wow. I was like full PR.
Yeah.
I was literally looking for like yellow.
I would have said 3 inches because I couldn't imagine like
It's
walking
6.
like down.
I'm 5'9" and in 6 inch heels, 6'3", and then the crown adds another like 6 inches.
my God.
So like it's
You're like Godzilla up
Yeah, no
there.
kidding. Yeah.
It's a long way down, but
Yeah.
Oh my
like
God.
please don't fall, please don't fall. Okay, here we go. What do you think is the largest issue affecting America today?
I feel that the largest issue affecting America today is the number of women that have had unprotected sex with my co-host, Mike Sensi.
All two of you know who you are.
No, but to be real, I feel that division is the largest problem facing us today. Because if we remember the simple phrase, united we stand, I feel that we can all come together. Thank you.
So over. It's not even funny.
Exactly. Do you have like a playoff, like the Oscars? If they go too long, does music kick up?
Oh yeah, the music
do
kicks
they?
on.
Okay.
Oh no, at the
For you?
pageant.
Yeah.
It depends on the pageant, but
Okay.
Yeah.
sometimes they won't even give you the mic. They just hold the
just hold it in your
mic
face.
and then they just pull it away.
I wouldn't be cool with that. Like, I'd feel the whole stage full of uppercuts.
Oh
you
yeah,
know, like
some of these and some of those. Absolutely.
Your question.
Yes.
What should we do about the caravan approaching our border?
Executive producer, please don't start the clock.
Oh my God.
It's already 6 seconds in.
Holy shit. I know 6 seconds. This is a long 6 seconds. I fucking A. Oh my God.
When in doubt, just say world peace.
Yeah, I was honestly gonna say something like super vague like that. Like, I think the love that the world citizens have for each other will overcome any obstacles.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
That was so good.
Oh
That was
shit.
so good.
What a question.
That was so good.
Oh God.
Oh man, did you guys ever see Miss Congeniality?
I love the movie.
Which is
Yeah,
which is like it was stricter punishment for parole violators, Bob. And everyone's like, and then she goes, and world peace.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Like I felt like there were moments where I definitely felt like I was out of that movie
Can I take the same question?
about the caravan.
No, you want the
Okay.
question? Go ahead. Yeah, please.
So, being a child of immigrants myself, both my parents, neither of them were born in the continental U.S. I'm the first born and raised generation in the U.S. I feel that sometimes we need to look at things from the other perspective. I'm not saying what they're doing is right. I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And at one point in time, we all came here. Whether it was thousands of years ago or hundreds or whatever you believe, the point is that we're all humans.
It was a good answer.
It was a non-answer too, which made it
Which is
so
perfect,
good.
right?
There you
I
go.
knew it. I knew
And
it.
he also threw out that I am a minority in
Throw
there.
that personal experience in
You
there.
know?
Absolutely.
I love how you
Like-
said continental U.S.
Yes.
Like, just big words like continental.
Yeah.
Nice.
'Cause my
Not
mom came
associated with
from
breakfast?
Puerto Rico, which is a commonwealth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Dan.
I know.
All this knowledge.
But don't think I'm trying to get out of my next question. Hit me with it.
Wait, I thought that was 2 and 2. I thought
Two
we were
and two,
good.
right? Yeah.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
That was the goal, yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to flip the script a little bit.
No.
And hit Patty
So,
with
yeah.
the lightning round.
Don't hit me.
Hey, make sure you put like a cool special effect right after I say lightning round. All right. Okay, so Miss Gomez.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
One thing our listeners may not know about you is that you are an accomplished race car driver.
Accomplished.
Beat everybody here.
So, by answering this with yes, no, or pass, do you feel that you could beat Steve McQueen in a race?
Have we been drinking?
Yes, no, or pass?
Pass.
Steve McQueen, it's yes.
Mike,
What's up?
your turn.
Oh, my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you had the same question. I was like, I don't know.
Lightning round.
He's probably faster than me. Is there a Disney princess who could beat up Mulan?
No.
Good answer.
Next question.
I don't have any more. Keep going.
Do you feel like pancakes are the greatest breakfast food?
No.
Next question.
You have another one? I definitely don't have one.
Yes. Would you say that the United States is the greatest country in the world?
Yes.
There we go. Oh, easy day.
Yes. Hard yes.
Hard yes.
Merca.
I don't got any more. That's all I got.
Final question. Do you think Jackie Chan could beat up Jet Li if they were in a pool hall?
Why does the pool hall thing matter?
The fact
Jackie Chan has weapons.
Yeah,
And he has
exactly.
tables to flip over.
Yeah.
Yes, no, or pass?
Yes.
Good answer. Because I have long been a proponent of the fact that if it's a Target or a Costco or a pool hall, Jackie Chan will win. But if they're like in a flat open street or an octagon, Jet Li's taking
Oh,
it.
Jet Li's taking him. for
Jackie
sure.
Chan could kill like 50 men just at a buffet table, just like bumping over trays and stuff. That's what he does.
He's like bumbling.
Yeah.
So this episode is going to go a little bit longer than anticipated because we have a guest with us.
Exactly.
And despite having how many times did you flip your car?
Which time?
Which time? So with her racing career and the pageantry and pursuing higher education, she still finds time to champion several notable causes, and we're hoping that you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I would love to. So my platform is Homes for Our Troops. Everyone's like, oh, they build houses for homeless vets. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Let's rewind. Homes for Our Troops is a nonprofit organization that builds specially adapted custom homes for our most injured post 9/11 veterans. And people don't realize how difficult life is. I'm wearing a boot right now. Our viewers can't see, but I fractured my foot in 4 places, and I can't tell you what a difficult time I've had just walking around my house in crutches. So, that's like a very minuscule portion of what some of our veterans are facing when they're double amputees or they have all sorts of issues after IED explosions and things like that. And Homes for Our Troops, they build homes that veterans can actually get around in. So showers that they can roll into, cabinets that come down, really giving them their independence and their freedom and their way of life back. Nearly 90% of every single dollar donated goes directly to build these homes. And I'm telling you, as somebody who did her research and someone who's worked with so many nonprofits, that's an astronomical number.
Wow.
A lot of the nonprofits out there that people donate to that are well known, I can't tell you how much money they spend on marketing and how much money they spend on Nalgene bottles and things like that. Right. No, they Homes for Our Troops, they're the real deal. And seeing a veteran get that home and get their freedom back, it's amazing. I didn't think even a light switch, if you're in a wheelchair, can be hard to reach. A fan, it's little things that we take for granted every day. So they're the cause that's very near and dear to my heart. And I also work with a lot of companies that just give back. I'm a huge proponent of giving businesses to organizations giving business to companies that give back to organizations, for sure.
That makes sense, and
that's fucking awesome. Yeah.
So we'll make sure to get the websites and some of the literature and get that posted across our platforms.
For sure.
Thanks, guys.
At the end of the day, you have different instances where for example, we had a Marine who jumped on a grenade and received medal of honor. I think you guys know who I'm talking about.
Right.
And he seems like a fantastic guy. Well, the guy that was on the rooftop with him was just horribly injured.
Yeah.
And just like to the part where he survived, but thankfully I'm sure him and his family are immensely grateful.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not about the person who gets the glory. Like, and I'm not saying that he wants it or anything, but
sure, he doesn't, for sure.
Yeah, there's people who are injured that they don't get the same recognition, and especially if you're confined to your home or a wheelchair or to anything like that, then it's we'll definitely get that information out, and our listeners and our viewers, if you just take the time, just click on the website and learn a little bit about it. If you have any extra cash that you can donate, you want to wait to tax season, or even just informing people about it, getting more traffic to the website will be greatly appreciated. So, that being said, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for Patty for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, and look forward to learning more about these causes.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Out.